Hello and welcome in, everyone. This is Aaron St. Dennis, the FF Mad Scientist, and welcome back to the Mad Science Lab podcast. Today we have some more sleepers, breakouts, and busts, and here to help me with that is Joshua Thompson. Josh, thanks for joining me. It's great to have you, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Aaron. I'm excited, brother. Looking forward to this.
Great. You want to take a second here to tell everyone where they can find you?
Yeah, so as far as where to find me, on Twitter at Sports with the Buds. I'm also a writer on RPO Football.com, so you can find me on there. That's really it right now. I'm working with the PPR show as well, so if you go, check out his YouTube page, I'm, all over that bad boy as well.
If they have watched this show, they are I can't talk today. It's been a long day. My computer's not the only thing malfunctioning. My brain is too, I guess. One of those long days. It's my first day. I started vacation about 2 hours ago, and my brain has shut down with it. But anybody who watches this show is probably very familiar with the PPR show. SC has been on here, I don't know, a half dozen times probably. Nice. And he is a recurring guest. So, alrighty, I guess without further ado, let's get into the first of your three players. We have your sleeper is Giants rookie receiver Jalen Hyatt. Fantasy Pros has him projected as wide receiver 66, negligible rushing stats, projected for 31.5 receptions, 432.3 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns. See a lot of good videos coming out from camp of him the last few days in particular. Man, is he fast? What is it you like about him that makes him your sleeper?
Yep. I mean, so obviously, I don't like to buy into too much of the camp hype, the camp videos. A lot of that gets overblown. But when a guy's running 24 miles an hour, you got to kind of take notice of that. Just when you look at the Giants offense, Dabo runs such a great system. They did pick up Waller, and I think he's going to be a big part of the passing game, but they don't really have an option on the outside. Isaiah Hodgins is really his only competitor for, snaps on the outside. And that type of speed is going to be hard to keep off the field, man. They don't have anybody that's that fast. Danny Dimes, he can get it out there. He just needs somebody that's, taking the top off like that. So, I really see Hyatt being a sneaky weapon, and the fact that he's projected, 400 yards, 2 TDs. What I'm looking at is something in the range of, 50 catches, 750 yards, very similar to like a Christian Watson stat line from last year. Maybe 750 yards, probably 6 touchdowns or so. I think he's going to be on the field early and often for them. He just takes the top off, man.
Yeah, I find with everyone on these Fantasy Pros projections, they went really conservative with everyone. It's funny, though, with the exception of maybe George Pickens, I don't think there's anybody else who I find comes across my Twitter timeline more often with camp highlights. And as I say that, scrolling through Twitter, I see a George Pickens and a Jalen Hyatt highlight coming up from today in camp. So the buzz continues. I don't hate it. He was someone where I kind of had him ranked a lot higher. And then for a guy who was supposed to be the one-trick speed pony, he kind of disappointed with that combine run. And then he's out here to, this week breaking speed records. So I don't understand where was he sick combine week? Like, oops, I went to turn that off. Sorry. I don't know where his speed just happened to go that 1 week. And now it's apparently back and better than ever. But let's take a look here. He is, like I said, wide receiver. Oh, he's gone up to 65, 169 overall in this range. He's basically a late round pick or free on your waiver wire, depending on how deep your league is. In this range, you've basically got Mingo, Rice, Pierce, so a couple of other rookies, a bunch of players I don't really want any part of, and then maybe John Mechie or Paris Campbell. So you've got some rookies and a couple of dart throws. What do you think of him in the late 160s here?
Well, I mean, obviously, I love the value. I think I would snatch him up everywhere at that point. If he's there, last couple rounds of any redraft league, I think he's a great dart throw. There's a couple fun names in there. I like Mechie a lot this year too. But I feel like what Hyatt brings to an offense, and it's exactly what the Giants are missing. It seems like they have 15 slot receivers, but they don't have anybody on the outside. I really think he's going to bring a completely different dynamic to this offense.
Yep, I could totally see it. You're right, though. Danny Dimes does have that ability to air it out. He just doesn't really have the guy to do it. He had a lot of slot receiver types and gadgety players. There wasn't really a deep speed threat. That was supposed to be Kenny Golladay. That never materialized. So
yep.
Jalen Hyatt could definitely be what he needs here to take the top off of defense. I don't hate it. I don't know. He's probably, like you said, he's a good late round dart throw, or in deeper formats, he's someone I have. I don't know if I have that many shares of him. I'm trying to think, but off the top of my head, I don't know if I roster him anywhere. Maybe I will have to change that.
I think there's going to be similar to, like I said, with Watson, there's probably going to be a, 4-game stretch this season where Jalen Hyatt's winning you weeks. I really feel like that's going to be the case.
These rookie receivers especially tend to catch on late in the season.
Mm-hmm.
We'll move on now to your breakout. That is Washington running back Brian Robinson, projected as RB32. 896.4 rushing yards, 4.5 TDs, 16.3 receptions for 105.9 yards, and 0.7 touchdowns. Why do you think Brian Robinson breaks out this year?
Man, where do I start? So, Brian Robinson is, it's hard not to root for him. Obviously everything that happened last year with the shooting, the fact that he came back as quick as he did, it was awesome to see. But obviously, I don't think he was ever fully healthy last year. So not saying he's known as the most explosive guy, but I definitely think there's a little more explosiveness, in his game than what he was able to show last year. Also, Eric Bieniemy, taking over as offensive coordinator there. I think he's going to really look to establish the run, especially having, a second-year quarterback who's a fifth-round pick. I'm a Tar Heel fan, so I am a Sam Howell guy, and I'm rooting for him. But at the same time, it's pretty obvious you're going to need to establish the run with an inexperienced quarterback like that. And I just feel like Brian Robinson does all the little things well, the blitz pickups, he's great in the screen game as well. So he plays the role to where he's going to be able to stay on the field as much as you need him. And I just, I think that offense is going to be a little bit better than people think. So, my projections for B-Rob right now is somewhere in the range of 9 to 950 yards rushing, 8 to 10 touchdowns, an extra 20 catches, 200 yards, and another TD through the air. So, if you can get double-digit touchdowns, 1,100 total yards, you're looking at a solid RB2, fringe RB, late RB1 range.
It's weird because Fantasy Pros has him projected anywhere between RB32 and 36, but yet they give him credit for almost 900 rushing yards. I mean, it's with very few touchdowns and almost no passing involvement. So that kind of doesn't really line up, but I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what I'm thinking, honestly. As a rookie, I drafted a lot of shares of him in third and fourth rounds of rookie drafts, and I was pretty pleased. I kind of thought he was a plodder as a rookie. He wasn't all that explosive. He was just, got what was blocked for him. So I sold high on him in a lot of leagues. So I don't think I have that many shares of him. And then after hearing the way the coaching staff's hyping up Antonio Gibson, and then the next day it's Brian Robinson and then Gibson, I don't know what the hell to make of it. So I don't know. It's kind of a backfield I've been avoiding altogether. I had some shares of Gibson early, but I've kind of cooled. I guess it depends. I think at this point in the draft, I brought that up, didn't I? Yep. Okay. At this point in the draft, after Montgomery and Javonte go, and even Cook, I'm hoping I already have a running back because I don't really want any of these guys. Kamara will not be going here as RB30 anymore. This was obviously news of the 3-game suspension. He'll be shooting way up, but I don't know if I really trust any of these guys. I don't mind him. I think inside the top 100 is too much to pay for pretty much any guy on this list, I think. I don't know. Like I said, it's not that I don't like Robinson. I just don't really know what to make of this offense, and I don't really know what to make of the player. I kind of get a Green Bay vibe here. I don't know what to make of the quarterback in what is his basically a rookie season. I don't know what to make of any of the young weapons or the team as a whole. It's kind of I could be very wrong or very right. I don't really know.
So I really think, obviously, like I said, I think I'm a little higher on the offense and their ability to move the ball this year.
No, I think I like the offense too. I have Sam Howell in a couple of leagues. I like Sam Howell. I like the two receivers. It's just the running backs I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
Robinson, I kind of thought was a boring plotter, and Gibson seems to not be able to stay healthy. These two kind of remind me of Gibson being DeAndre Swift and Robinson being Jamal Williams. I'm not sure what to make of them.
And that's I see a very similar dynamic there. And that's why I do like buying Robinson, especially in that range. If you get him as a flex as your RB3 and he ends up putting up, RB2 numbers, that's a huge steal. If the way they're going to move the ball, I don't think they're going to trust Howell to throw as much inside the 5. He is mobile. So I think Sam Howell might vulture a couple of those, goal line touchdowns. But I just think B-Rob's going to get all that work inside the 5, which, like you said, Jamal Williams he was an RB2 last year, I believe, RB16 or something like that.
Yeah, well, 17 touchdowns. If Robinson has 17 touchdowns, I'm all in. But that's the other thing to consider, though, is the one of the main reasons I'm in and higher on Sam Howell than most people is I think he's going to have, a Daniel Jones, maybe not 700 yards rushing, but I think he might have 400 or 500 yards. And I don't know what that leaves. I think Gibson gets all the pass catching work, which kind of scares me, which means if Howell vultures too much of Robinson's work, I think Robinson's really going to depend on how many times he can get into the end zone here. If 100%. He gets the goal line roll, I think he probably has a good season. But I mean, my sheet said 36. He's moved up to RB 32 here. I guess at that price, you really he doesn't have to do much to beat that cost. Like that's if he even comes up with just the 800 yards they project and nothing else, that's probably still good for RB 32. So I guess the cost is so low he can't possibly miss out. So there's that. All righty, let's get to your final guy. I see him all the time, just not as a bust.
I know.
Your bust is a little spicy. It is Seattle wide receiver DK Metcalf, projected as wide receiver 16, negligible rushing stats, projected for 82 receptions, 1,006 receiving yards, and 7 touchdowns. Why is DK a bust for you?
Look, I love the guy. He's amazing. When I look at those, they're basically projecting him as, you're looking at him as a late 3rd, early 4th round pick in redraft. He's a top 40 player. That's really what I wanted to target as a bust. And when I was looking at those top 40 picks in redraft, he was the name that kept popping out to me. Not because of anything on his behalf as much as everything they've added on offense. I'm a big JSN guy. I think he's going to take a lot of targets away from both DK and Lockett. I think JSN's just going to be a weapon for them right out of the gate. I still like Metcalf, but I just, 80 for 1,000 and 7 touchdowns. I'm looking at him more in the 65, 804 touchdowns range, which kind of puts him outside that top, 50 or 60 picks.
All right, so for you, I guess it's a combination of his cost is a little too expensive, and with all the mouths to feed, it's kind of it's going to be tough for him to return top 40 ADP. Yeah, I don't hate it. Like I'm not big on Zach Charbonnet. I'm a Michigan fan, so he's just not someone I'm all that high on. But between him and Walker, and then you've got, like you said, JSN, who I think is going to be a bigger role or have a bigger role in this offense. And then you add in Lockett, who's already there, and DK and Geno, who knows? Like, I get it. Geno was QB5 last year, but how much do we trust a year 11 breakout? Like, is he going to get better? Is he going to get worse? Is he going to be the same? Like, I don't, nobody expected that last year. So to say we know what to expect from Geno this year is kind of bullshit. Nobody can really project it. So let's bring him up here. I know exactly where he is. He's one above Debo. I've done this range of receiver quite a bit, which he is right there. I always say for me, he's the fail safe. I have him at 15, not 16. After DK, I find it's a cliff. That's why I have him a lot. Once you get to RB 16, where I have Debo, Ridley, Hopkins, I find it really goes off a cliff in a quick hurry. But what do you think about this range where he's going in the draft?
It just seems too rich for me. Like, I mean, even just the guys you're naming, I don't want any piece of Debo. I guess I'm more on the JSN and Ayuk train than I am the Debo and DK train. Not because of any fault of Debo and DK. I just, I like the guys who create separation, with their eyes closed. It just, especially for guys like Geno, for, the unpredictable quarterback situation in San Francisco. I think those layup throws where a guy's got 4 yards of separation are, typically what those quarterbacks look for. I just, like you said, if Geno moves even to like QB 12 this year, even if he's still a QB 1, he also targets tight ends in the red zone fairly heavily. He likes the middle of the field in the red zone.
All 9 of them that they roster.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's funny. There's literally 4 of them. There's 4 different tight ends, and every week it's a different one that produces for fantasy.
Yep.
I can name Disley and I can name Fant, and I couldn't tell you the other 2, but I know they all were a thorn in my side last year trying to stream a Seattle tight end. But I agree with you though. I definitely like Ayuk over Debo. I hadn't really been considering JSN over Lockett or DK, but I think this might be an even 3-way split.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's camp videos, but JSN looks really fucking good in those camp videos, man. He's all over the place. You give him the ball and they can't touch him. And the route running, like he's deking out guy. I don't know. He looks really impressive. And I don't really love the camp videos, but those damn camp videos are something else. So I don't have too much of him. I've got him in a lot of rookie drafts. I didn't have too much of them in redraft, just the dynasty shares. I think I may acquire them. I just found he's been going too high. I don't know how to turn this into a JSN podcast, but wide receiver 39. See, 85 overall. I don't really think I have too many of him because I normally take Lockett or Deontay here, and then he's gone by the time it gets back around. But like, I'd still take Lockett or Deontay over him. But if we get to this group here, I'm starting to like him best. I don't know if I'm ready to take him over DK yet, but I don't mind JSN. So if you had to rank the 3 Seahawks receivers, what range or what rank are you drafting them in?
Well, so I mean, I think I would draft them, I would rank them exactly how you would consider them ranked. DK, Lockett, JSN.
Yeah.
The question really becomes about price. At that range where DK is getting drafted, I'm probably taking a running back in that range. And I'm going to wait and take JSN or Lockett, 3 rounds later. And that's why I look at DK as, a sell or I'm passing on him at that price.
He's going at the last pick of round 3. Then we're getting Lockett at 75. What's that? Round 7? 6?
Yeah, right. What, 6?
No, beginning of 7.
So
beginning of 7. 7-3, yeah. 7-3, and then we're getting JSN at the end of 8. So
it's just a better price.
Yeah, instead of 3, you're getting one in 7 or 8. I don't mind it. I definitely don't mind it. You're probably going to get, maybe a negligible difference, even if DK outproduces them. I don't know. JSN,
maybe a point a week, maybe a point and a half a week is what he averages more. So I think I'd rather take a high upside running back in that, top of the 4th into the 3rd range.
Yeah, I agree. He definitely, JSN too, seems like he could really be a yak monster there. Like just they get the ball in his hands and he's just all over the freaking place. And he looks like Kyler Murray or Kadarius Toney out there, where they always compare him to looks like the toddler who took his parents' cell phone and he's running around. That's what he looks like in practice out there. They just can't get him. So, all right. Well, those were your sleepers, breakouts, and busts. Do you want to take another second here to tell everyone where they can find you and your work?
Yeah, so at Sports with the Buds on Twitter, planning to hopefully start my own podcast this year. So hopefully you can find my work on YouTube as well. But I'm writing for RPOFootball.com. So, follow RPO Football on Twitter. A lot of great writers on there. Leo's really, built a really great team of some knowledgeable guys from all over the globe that are big football guys. So really looking forward to the growth at RPO, over the next 12 months.
Awesome, man. Thanks for coming on. It was great.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, no problem, man. Anytime. This has been Sleepers, Breakouts, and Busts with Joshua Thompson. Once again, I am Aaron St. Dennis, the FF Mad Scientist. This has been the Mad Science Lab podcast. Thanks again, Josh, for joining me, and thank you all for tuning in. Take care and have a great night.